welcome to WRPB and WRPB Studios. I have an exciting guest with me today, and I can't wait to see what all he has to say. Please help me welcome Thomas with Accent Sounds and Entertainment. How you doing today?
Hey, how you doing today,
I'm
Stacey?
doing great. Okay, so what all do you do?
As far as what I do, as far as business wise, Accent Sounds and Entertainment is my main company.
Okay.
Um, they basically more or less dealing with DJ MC services. Throughout, I'll go anywhere, but basically South and Central Florida.
Okay.
More or less where that company is. I've been involved with the nightclub business, the bar business for many years. I'm kind of stepped away about from that a little bit, and more or less focusing mostly on weddings and private parties at this point.
That sounds like more fun. Weddings and parties sound more fun.
Yeah, there's. I guess the best way to put it is no one's gonna go to a wedding or party and not be happy. You know what I'm saying? So you're
Very
dealing with
true.
people with smiles on their faces for the most part at all times.
Very
It's
true.
an enjoyable business.
Very true. So, do you like to be inside or outside venue?
That doesn't make a difference to me, really. Obviously, being Florida, the air conditioning is definitely
Right.
really nice to have, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, as far as outside or inside, if I would have to give you a answer, inside, definitely.
But you do both.
Yeah, 100%, definitely 100%.
So it doesn't really matter what the location is. If I need a DJ, you're down to come and DJ me.
Yeah, what it would anywhere to set up is possible. More or less, kind of what I would do as far as the venues. The venues are definitely the most important place because the parts of the whole event being the fact. First of all, I can't write up an agreement with a customer or with a bride and groom per se without knowing the venue because
Absolutely.
everyone is so unique to itself. So we run into it a lot. A lot of times they're going to be having their ceremony at the venue, and the ceremony is a couple like 100 feet away from where the actual reception is going to be. In that case, you may need to set up multiple sound systems. So knowing the venue, kind of and how the setup is going to be. Do you need one sound system? Will that take care of everything? Maybe you need a second sound system for the cocktail hour and a third sound system for the ceremony. But definitely knowing the venue and understanding it and how the setup is going to be helps. And then obviously anything can be provided.
Okay, so if I call you to DJ an event, do I have to come up with all? I know I don't have to come up with all the music, but what type of direction do you need from your clients to know which direction to go with the music?
Good question. How I started, okay, when someone reaches out to me, okay, for basically, I guess, per se, the initial phone call, that phone call is going to take about maybe like 5-10 minutes at
Okay.
the most. More or less, I give a rundown on what my business offers, kind of how I operate as the owner of the company, and kind of how I deal with the bride and groom or who's ever booking with me as far as music, as far as being an MC. And kind of give them an understanding on kind of what I can do, which is anything and everything, letting them customize the date. After that initial phone, give them kind of an idea of kind of what the cost would be and understanding what their venue is going to be. And after that, what I would do is the next step would be to set up a consultation.
Okay.
That consultation meeting will take about an hour and a half. It will take an hour and a half for a wedding, sweet 16, bar mitzvah, quinceañera, maybe a little less.
Oh wow, there's all kinds of parties out there.
Everything,
Everything's a
everything.
party, especially in Paradise.
Yeah, everything. So yeah, it's nonstop for sure. But at that consultation, more or less what I do is I kind of basically create their whole day for them right there, writing up an agenda. Now, the technical, like as far as like the technicalities of like specific songs, not necessarily kind of going into all that at that point. You put that together through time. But what I do is I go from the start of the day to the end of the day, going over everything I can offer, kind of explaining how like the DJ works with other vendors that are going to be there, the photographers,
I didn't even
the
think about
caterers.
that.
Yeah, so you all have to work together to create
Yeah,
that perfect
very true.
day.
I didn't even think about that.
So at that consultation, I go over all that and kind of like why maybe you would do the parent dances per se at a certain time or cut the cake at a certain time, introductions. And after that, then I write up an agreement. After that meeting, they have a really good idea on how a whole wedding can unfold after that meeting, being the fact to where most of them is first time getting married. So they shouldn't know how to do this, you know. So
No, you're right. They shouldn't.
Yeah, so they have a good understanding on how the whole day can unfold after that, and they write up an agreement, and then it's up if they want to give a deposit whenever. I won't really ask for a deposit, but then that sets us in stone. Working together as the deposit.
Oh, that is awesome. So, if we have a consultation and I'm having a party, and if I am asking you to do something that just doesn't make any sense with the theme or the wedding or whatever, do you tell people, hey, let me tell you, you might want to think about this or that, or do you just go with what your people want?
No, 100%. Yeah, let them customize the day they want. Now, if it's like something that's like way off the wall, like I may tell you like that's awesome, or I may or
Right.
like yeah, it's super cool. I've never heard that before. I think it's great. If it's something like most people are realistic, you know what I'm saying. If it's just something that's like, are you sure about that? And they're like, yeah, we definitely want that. Then hey, it's your party, So
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
One big thing. Do you take requests? I know some DJs don't. Um, I
Oh,
do.
so you do take requests. See, I
100%.
think that's awesome
Yeah,
because I went
100%.
to a wedding 2 years ago, and that was the problem. It's like, well, first of all, the music that was being played was ridiculous, but then we couldn't request anything. So I think it's awesome that you do that. I think that if I were picking someone to do an event like that, I would want my friends to have fun. And let's face it, everyone likes something different music wise.
Yeah.
How many song titles do you have?
Ooh, on the it's been I started doing this, and I guess let's start from the beginning. I guess to answer
Yeah,
this
how long have you
question.
been doing this?
1999 is
Oh,
when I
goodness.
started
So-
doing. Yeah, I was 19 years old, so
So you
I
probably
guess
have a couple hundred songs by now?
a couple,
Couple 100,000?
I started in per se the CD days. Okay, so I was after the vinyl days, and
Okay.
we still have DJs.
Those were the good days, by the way, the vinyl days.
Yeah, the vinyl days. Yeah, I started after those. I mean, people still do use vinyl, but it's I started in the CD days.
Okay.
And then it went to obviously digital with
Yes.
computer and external hard drives. My external hard drive, how many songs do I have? 800,000.
See, I need to come see your external hard drive. Yeah, I remember when iTunes became a thing. That is the worst program.
Yeah.
I do not like iTunes. But music collection, that is awesome. What is the craziest party you've been asked to DJ?
Craziest, as I guess the best way to put it is define crazy, but the wildest party.
I like that. What's the wildest party you've
There's been a
DJed?
couple of them. One was really unique. It was one about the wedding that sticks out a lot. It's a friend of mine, AJ Dower, and it was probably the one wedding that was super cool. They wanted like a bunch of like punk rock there, like Bad
Ooh,
Religion
okay.
and
Okay.
No Effects
That's
and
a
stuff
good
like
song, by the
that.
way.
So that wedding was super cool. Plus, a lot of my friends were there, and this was a while ago, so I was still younger. It was still my personal party days, I guess you can say. But the mosh pits at that wedding and stuff. So that one really sticks out. Just recently, not too long ago, like last April, which there was weird that a party was going on. But down in Miami, some people that were actually, I grew up in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Okay, some
Okay.
people, I didn't know this person, but they called me, and the call came in from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It was some people coming down for their 40th birthday party, so we were the same age for the most part. And they were renting like a $4 million mansion down in Miami to throw this birthday party. He was bringing like 15 of his friends.
Heck yeah. That sounds
So-
like my kind of party.
Yeah, so it was just random. So he's like, guys, like, I guess I have to use you. We're from the same hometown. Facebook, we had like 9 mutual friends, and that was 2 Aprils ago. So that one was that was probably one of the wildest parties I've ever had.
There's no telling what all you've seen, though, because most of the
Yeah.
events you go to, I'm sure there's alcohol involved. So there's no telling what kind of crazy stories you actually have.
Yeah, it's especially with the nightclub business. Being I was in the club business for so long, I got out of the club business some years ago. But I mean, yeah, the stories. More or less, the best way to put it. I've seen it all for the most part. Yes.
Working in the entertainment business, that encompasses a lot.
A lot,
I mean, like things
yeah.
people don't even think about, which is, I guess that's the cool thing about being in the business, but also the crazy thing about being in the business. You have to be prepared for anything. Because I'm sure when you're DJing, you can't be any kind of way other than extremely professional, regardless of what's going down. So, all right. So, do you prefer weddings, birthday parties? Do you have a preference? I mean, I know you're a music person, so you like it all. But is there a preference that you like?
Definitely weddings. 100. Well, I mean, first of all, business is about making money too. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
it's the weddings are definitely the most cost to the wedding compared to everything else. But yeah, it's like I enjoy the weddings. Like you get done, we know you have one day to do something and you have to do it right on that
Yes.
day. You can't redo it, and And don't get me wrong, when I started out, I'm not saying everything has always been perfect.
Well, I would hope not.
Yeah, but you learn. You learn
Yes.
through time, and you look back at these mistakes that you're making like 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Before the internet, aren't you
Yeah,
glad?
yeah.
It's
It's
like I
just
made
like,
all my mistakes before we had cell phones.
yeah,
That's why I
one.
like being my age.
Yeah, so it's like afterwards when everyone's just super happy, you just get the satisfaction out of it. So yeah, 100%, obviously because of the how much you're making on a wedding in comparison, but then also to the satisfaction of knowing that you just did this. You had one day to do it right and you nailed it.
So if you're coming to my wedding and it starts at noon,
Hmm.
what time are you going to show up?
If the wedding starts at noon, I would it depends on how many sound systems.
Okay.
Like I talked about the multiple sound systems a bit ago. More or less, if for a one sound system setup, basic sound system setup, I would be there at least 3 hours prior.
Oh, wow.
So I'd be there
That's awesome.
Yeah, if it started at noon, I would be there. So 11, 10, 12, 9. I'd be there at 9
Okay.
o'clock in the morning. In that case, it only takes about like an hour to an hour and a half to set up one sound system. The only thing is, I just don't. You know how it is. Like you don't want to get set up. The next thing boom, you have to go right into it. You're still sweating.
Yes,
It's hot.
yes.
You know?
Well, you also want to make sure everything works.
Yeah,
you
they've
know,
talked-
that's the important thing. It's like you're there, as you say, for one day. You definitely want to make sure everything works.
Yes, that's why. That's one thing I say to a bride and groom all the time. Or they're like, "Oh, how come you need to get there so early?" Well, I may have forgotten to get a battery for my microphone.
Right.
Then like next thing you know, I'm like just get done setting up, and I have to go into the ceremony like 5 minutes later, and okay, now I don't have any microphone batteries. So yeah, take the time to think, troubleshooting with wires. You know what I'm saying? It might work. Everything might work perfect
Yes.
last week, and then you get there, and sometimes the troubleshooting takes longer than the setup.
No,
You
I
know,
know.
you got to run through wire after wire to which one is it. So that's why I give myself any more or less 3 hours, and then an extra 2 for a second sound system. And then if I got to set up a third sound, then an extra 2.
And so then, whenever the party is over, obviously you're going to be there a little bit longer for breakdown and stuff. But I'm sure that all the venues around here, at least that you work with, I mean, it's not necessarily that anyone from the party has to stay and wait for you to get all your stuff packed up because everyone is leaving. Is that how it kind of works? Like, do you stay till the end for the most part?
Yeah, it's more how I do it. It's always me doing everything.
Okay, so you do it all. You're a
I do
one-man
it all.
show.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's I've been back not too much with the assistant type stuff. I just always have felt myself to where I do a better job if I do it all myself. It's like that's always been my thing.
I
So
understand.
it's just with music cues and stuff like that. I haven't used an assistant in a really long time, but it's like the type of thing to where you have like you're on the microphone as the MC, and you have like your little jokes and stuff, and you're using music as little soundbite
Yes,
hits.
yes.
And next thing you're like expecting the hit to come, and it doesn't come, and you're like, come on. So it's like I've just through time it's a lot easier for me just to go back there and hit the song, boom, be on the microphone at the same time, which I can do talk and play music at the same time. So yeah, that's as far as having help. I do everything myself as far as setup also.
That's awesome.
Now 5 hours prior to setup, at the end when we're breaking it all down. On 3 sound systems, it takes about an hour because at that point, I'm just not even wrapping cables up. I'm just
You're ready to go home.
Yeah,
I've been here all day.
It's in the back of the SUV. Yeah,
I
exactly.
completely understand
So,
that.
yeah.
So, how do we find you?
You can find me multiple ways. I do have my website.
Okay. What's your website?
You can check out my website at accententertainmentfl.com.
Okay.
Then also too, obviously phone call. I'm pretty prompt with answering the phone, to be honest, text or phone calls. The phone number is 772-209-2342.
Okay.
And then also too, again, you check out my website. If you go to the website, there's some links as far as either to send over an email and stuff
Okay.
like that, and subscribe to the site. But those would be the 2 main ways, phone call, or you can go to the website.
Okay. All right. Well, I would like to thank you for coming in today. What you do is amazing. There's no way I could even begin to figure out what I would do if someone called me today and said, "Hey, can you DJ my party?" I would be like, "Yeah, let me call Thomas. We'll get it DJ'd."
Yeah.
So, thank you for coming in.
I
It was a
appreciate
pleasure
it.
meeting you.
Definitely.
All right, folks, if you are needing a DJ, you have a one-man show who is a perfectionist. It's going to get there early, make sure everything is ready to roll when it's time for the party, and he's going to clean up his mess when he's ready to leave. So check him out, Thomas with Accent Sounds and Entertainment. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, have a great day.